There we go.
So I welcome everyone to the Albemarle Broadband Authority meeting, April 16th, our regular meeting. We have a quorum of all the members present. Everyone's got a copy of the agenda, I trust. Anyone have any changes they'd like to see in the agenda? Bill?
They are January, and it's not the June something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is good news, which is good. We're all caught up.
Yes.
If they get approved today, we'll.
I'll have the person who prepared the minutes, the agenda flogged after the meeting. I hope that'll satisfy your honor. Okay, then moving on. Any announcements from authority members? None here. On the other side of the table. Public comment. Noting a complete absence of the public. Go on. Consent agenda. So there's a note here about on the consent agenda about this will be the last meeting that we present the light items. So are you just taking the 85 grand and that's it? We're good?
I don't know that I wrote that note. I'm sorry. That was related not that was related to the VADI 21 line, not the 85 grand.
The $85,000.
Yeah, I will.
So that was just going to not be reported anymore. I'm going to wonder. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda is approved. Approval of the January meeting minutes. Bill, you had some minor corrections. Anything major come back to you?
Not just that one correction.
Would you like to move their approval?
I'm further approved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you for.
So old business. We're gonna take VADI 2021 off, right?
As soon as we can. As soon as we can.
Tell us about it.
As we all know, VADI 21 construction was completed about 2 years ago now. The 6-month report, of which there's a 6-month and a 10-month post-closeout report, was delayed due to IT issues on behalf of Brightspeed. DHCD was made aware and has extended the due date to the end of the month. I checked in with Brightspeed today and have not heard back. It is what it is.
Yep. So moving on then.
VADI 22. So a number of updates. Not all of them encouraging. We did see a shift of all of the remaining project areas to spring 2026. That is ending June-ish. From a conversation with Dennis Reese at Firefly, Keene, Appalachian Power Keene project area is now connecting. So that is new. The other important update is that the 2 substations that we were waiting on, so we'd already had the Keene one, the Earlysville, and the Stony Point one are in place. And so now that they're continuing the construction work of bringing fiber to the locations. Earlysville. Both of them are at their respective fire departments. I had a chance, like I said, to talk to Dennis Reese earlier today. He is confident in their ability to complete this by the end of the fiscal year, which has been the number that I've been talking about for a while to give us as much buffer, but also to recognize that there's urgency related to the fact that this is ARPA money. We need it spent and the work completed before the end of 2026. Absolutely. June 30th, yes. And I asked, what is the thing that could cause you any sort of delay, that could cause you to have to stretch this into the next fiscal year, and what would be the scope? And the cause, he said, was permits. VDOT has a lot on its plate, and I had a chance to chat with VDOT representative today to see if there's anything that we can do. And bluntly, they said, anytime we can expedite things on request, if it's a pressing matter, then we do our best to move things to the top of the list. So I recommend, if I can be so bold, that ABBA consider putting together a short letter requesting VDOT to expedite all Firefly-related permits in Albemarle County to ensure that these projects continue apace and are able to finish on time. Um,
No reason not to mention, so they can complete while they still have funding. Yeah.
Yeah, and but that is the pressing issue is that if things continue for too long, then we are going to be putting these funds at risk, and we don't want to do that. The other concern is rail crossings, and there was actually good news associated with the rail crossings as it related, I believe, to the Ragged Mountain. Dennis Reese is on if we want to. Ask him some questions and any clarification, but I believe it was the Ragged Mountain. There was one neighborhood in the Ragged Mountain area that has a rail crossing at its entrance, and they had been waiting for a very long time. They'd actually released the rest of the area, and waiting a very long time to get permission to do that rail crossing. Those we have less control over. We have,
Guys were being nicer like a year ago.
Well, there was legislation that was supposed to make them be nicer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's part of the legislative part.
yeah, and I believe that there might have been some legal action that may have stymied the impact of that of that particular legislation. So again, permits are the major barrier that could delay this past our end of fiscal year date. Aside from that, they have hundreds of crews, hundreds of people out every day all across Albemarle County, putting fiber in the ground. Even our own Lauren Bowden has crews in her neighborhood right now, putting stuff in the ground. And so work is continuing.
They're not in my neighborhood.
I know.
Down the road
I know.
from my neighborhood.
I know.
They're not even in
But
my general
they're gonna, those permits are waiting, I'm sure. Um, briefly, as we discussed last meeting.
The point you raised though, about a letter to VDOT,
Yeah,
anyone object if we draft such a letter and send it? Trevor? Okay.
Who have you communicate with?
I initially reached out to Carrie Shepard, but I heard back from Matt. I'd have to follow up to remember his last name.
I am on a quarterly meeting with Carrie and Sean Nelson, who's the district engineer, that happens to be Monday. So I can just flag for them to expect a letter from the authority asking for accelerated review.
That'd be great.
Of permitting.
Yeah.
Permitting request. That's agreed.
That sounds good. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I understood correctly. It sounded like what you suggested was also that the rail crossing issue has been at this point disposed of.
We can ask Dennis Reese from Firefly. He would know best if there are any remaining rail crossings. But the biggest one that was a barrier was that literally an entire neighborhood on the other side of a rail crossing, and they were still waiting.
Dennis,
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna have some questions.
Yeah, I'm promoting him right now. So there we go. Dennis, can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can.
Okay. Sorry I wasn't able to be there in person. We had a town hall for Ragged Mountain, matter of fact, in Albemarle today from 4 to 5 that was previously scheduled.
Carrie just walked into the room.
There.
Oh, she was at the town hall. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we had a town hall covering Ragged Mountain this afternoon. So but yes, so for the railroad crossings, we recently got 7 of those. And that did release that neighborhood of Sherwood Farms. They're off 29 Monica Trail that we were delayed by that crossing. And we've already got a bunch of connections in there. So those folks we're all desperate for a good service. So we're happy to be in there. We've got a couple other crossings in the works. I think we have 6 remaining in the county, and I think we have 3 of those scheduled for later this month, the 27th, 28th, and 29th is what I was told today. So we still have a few left, and we're working as hard as we can to get those crossings pushed across the finish line. But we have to go through the process with each of the different railroads every time. So they all have their own unique process.
Looking at the list of project areas that are left, it seems like realistically, there are more than can possibly get done before the end of this fiscal year.
So most of these most of the construction's completed. And so the Batesville area, we're missing the feeder fiber. The rest of it's already pretty much built. So that feeder fiber, I'm being told, will be completed possibly next week. And then we can start the splicing and start connecting homes there. Pretty Creek, most of that's built. And I'm being told that hut will be online uh, probably early next week, which means we'll start connecting there in a couple of weeks after that. And Pretty Creek feeds some locations in Albemarle and some in Green. Um, so several of these are well on their way we could start making connections in. Um, and a couple of these, we are still waiting on some VDOT permits, as Jason already discussed. And most of these areas, like I said, have been mostly constructed, and some of them are in construction.
Is Dominion going to be a roadblock for you?
No, Dominion has finished their work now.
Okay, they're done. Good.
They're done. We're waiting on the final splicing information from them for Earlysville, but we're still waiting on some permits there from VDOT. So that's Dominion's not going to delay us.
Other questions? Gary?
I had just a little more color. You mentioned that there is a lot to be done by June 3rd. We've got, I don't know how many total crews on the project. We had 25 pretty consistently, and more recently I heard we were up to 28. A crew can do about a mile a week. We still have a good 200 miles of underground place. If everything works perfectly, all that fiber could go in and get there, and we hope to have that by June 30th. We will not have everybody connected now, but we hope to have all the fiber placed, all the huts lit, and have started connections. We'll be running connections through the rest of the year. If we don't hit June 30th, we're going to be as close after it as we can. We're not stopping. We're gonna ask DHCD already to give us a little bit of an extension, not because of here, Campbell County, we have areas we won't start construction till that are part of the same project. They came in real late. They were just awarded to us. We got the contract last December. But we're not shifting our timeline here any. We're pushing to get everything done as close to June 30th as possible. In fact, we have a meeting, an all hands meeting next Tuesday with all of the contractors to talk about optimizing the time we have and how we can make sure that all the handoffs go smoothly for permits, railroad permits, VDOT permits, easements, those types of things to get as much in place and as many people as possible by the 30th, and then lay out how we're going to get this wrapped up after that. So it is a big lift. We're working on it. We're going to get close. We may not make every inch of fiber in by then, but we'll continue out.
What, another 3,000-4,000 passings to get done here, so
Yes,
it's a heavy lift, that's for sure.
it is. It is, there is still some left, but, as, Dennis pointed out, some of those, we do have areas where we've been frustrated because we've had the fiber in place, but not gotten the final connections, we can start actually connecting people. And we've got places where the fiber's been in place for months and months, and it's really frustrating when you're paying debt service on that fiber and you can't make revenue for it. So we are, we're working, those areas will be able to start connections pretty quickly as soon as we get a couple of final areas up at Pretty Creek that Dennis was talking about. Around Batesville, west of Crozet, got a ton of fiber in the ground that, we've been waiting for a final connection to. We should be getting those in the next week or two, so. We'll start seeing progress in some of the areas of the county sooner. Sugar Hollow, we've got about 70% of the fiber in, so we've got to finish up some up there, but we haven't started connecting the folks yet. They are starting to splice in that area soon. We'll have people online up there before too long, so. So we're making a lot of progress, but we're running a lot of parallel paths and running really fast.
Gary, when you say your places where you have fiber underground, but you can't use it because you need a final connection, what does that mean? A final connection?
So the feed into the Batesville area is coming from the Central Virginia Electric area.
Okay. You should have no upstream connection.
We're no upstream connection, so that fiber, we built a new transmission line up through that section through our Midway substation. We delayed the fiber a little bit because it needed to be on the new line, not the old line. We didn't want to build it and move it. So we just finished the transmission line. We finished that fiber, and as we got to the finish line, there was a swampy area, and earlier this year we couldn't get in there, but it's clearly dropping it now. So that's it's a 244 count fiber that brings that main back to feeding. So that's getting the light to it. All fibers in the ground ready to go.
It's good to know the drought's good for something.
Look at the price.
It's gotta be one something. Completely off the build out and Albemarle topic, but just generally speaking, how are y'all finding as your network grows that you're stable? You know, in terms of managing the data, managing the customers, all those kinds of things.
So we're at about 150 gigs of peak usage right now. We've got capacity for 600. And we've got equipment that we can continue adding, expanding. We've got all but 2 of our huts have dual feeds, so that any single line won't take the hut down. The 2 that do not aren't in Albemarle, and we have plans for adding second feeds into those next year. So we're continuing to monitor reliability and manage that. We did add a third internet source to Atlanta. We previously went to Ashburn and down to Richmond. Now we have 3 paths out of our ring of rings. So we're in pretty good shape in terms of managing the traffic on the bigger scale. That's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's. Thank you.
Yeah, we peak on NFL Thursday night. That's how you find out where your peak is. It's strange because some of the games don't have that much usage. But by far, the most usage is an NFL game.
I can tell you, those of us using the internet 30 years ago, we were definitely not watching NFL games at all. The idea that would affect internet traffic is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It was surprising to me that
Big check.
Calling message boards.
We were mostly posting on message boards and playing games.
Yeah.
Not much more sure.
Trevor, you had some?
Just back on the letter, I feel like we probably should do take a vote on that to authorize the chair to sign it. I'm looking at,
Yes.
that way it has the authority of the broadband authority.
Very good.
I can make a motion.
Please do.
I make a motion to authorize the chair to sign a letter on behalf of the broadband authority requesting VDOT to expedite Firefly permitting requests within Albemarle County tied to the VADI 2022 program.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Can I offer,
Any opposed?
I just offer one brief amendment. In addition to the Valley 22 locations, we also have Albemarle ARPA locations that are tied into this. And so I would just recommend including both. They are concurrently being built, often on the same permits. So it likely would tie those locations in, but just to be thorough, it feels wise to just add Albemarle ARPA as a category.
Really our purview, but it doesn't hurt us, to say, and these guys too. So, yeah, that's another one. Agreeable
As an
as amended? All right, then, that's all good. Anything else for? Any other questions for Gary or Dennis or anything you guys want to tell us that we need to know?
The take rate is still good. Shows you the demand is out there. We know that. It's not being served by satellite options and the very slow growth of wireless. Y'all's foresight to make sure we got into this project and got it done as quickly as possible is to be commended, because folks just, I can't imagine right now myself not having internet lines. My whole broadband service, and there's so many areas that still need it across the state, but
See, Gary, I have a different provider, so I don't have to imagine not having internet, so it happens from time to time. And it's disabling.
we're gonna get there, closing in.
All right, well, thank you all very much. Jason?
The only other thing I wanted to mention related to Body 22, we had previously talked about the impact of easements and failure to obtain. Firefly has been very dutiful in trying to obtain easements wherever they possibly can, especially to avoid impacting other residents who want the service but cannot be reached due to easement issues. Dennis did send me some figures for the areas that have already been completed. 37 locations denied easements, impacting 22 residents that wanted the service. At a certain point, those will get turned back over to DHCD. So that way DHCD knows that they're there. Obviously, given the easement issues, a VADI 26 round or trying to incorporate into BEAD or something else might not work, just because you end up running into the same issues. But the office will continue to keep those locations in mind to find a solution for them and work with the state to find something that can be suitable.
There's something we can do to make folks be a little more charitable, but their land, their choice.
Have we used takings for those people?
I think Gary is the expert on whether that is a legal option.
So we have filed as Firefly and become a public utility in Virginia. Theoretically, we have the right to use eminent domain. That has not been used by a CLEC that didn't have an incumbent area. So it could be challenged. That's number one. Number two.
I didn't know y'all, I was thinking about it from our perspective.
Yeah, and the county may be able to, it goes back to whether it's gonna be challenges in public is there a public benefit by doing this? The best thing you can do is encourage supervisors to make sure that every subdivided property comes with utility rights. The same way that years ago, we made it, a requirement in the state that you have ingress and egress. You used to be able to sell a piece of property landlocked. And you can't do that, but you can lock it away from utilities. And, every subdivided piece of property should have a utility pad. So, if that were the case, most of these subdivisions include utility easements. These are older areas that were divided. Assumed everybody's gonna be friendly to them.
Okay,
That's all I got. Thanks, Gary.
anything else on body 2022? Let's move on.
The BAO report, going to try to keep it fairly short. Just jumping ahead to the BEAD update, I received an email from Comcast. They have no update. From the time that the state receives its NIST, National Institute for Science for Standards and Technology approval, the state has 6 months to complete the contract process. I believe we are 3 months in. So they got 3 months left. I don't know if this is going to be like, in RFP land where all of the proposals come on the very last possible minute. But if that's what it's going to be, then we're likely a few more months away from seeing a contract. As I previously stated, the authority made its request that our 350 or so remaining locations get priority, so that way they do not have to wait until 2030 to get connected. That remains our concern and priority, and Comcast is aware. Hopefully, that is something that is going to be reflected in the contract once it is released. But Comcast is unable to discuss the details of the contract until the contract process has been completed. Any questions on that one? The office has been participating in web accessibility issues with the county website, updating all of our pages and working with public services accessibility to bring our website to compliance. I can personally vouch for our pages being at 96% compliance at both WCAG 2.1A and AA. And so we are on top of it, and we are participating with PSA to try to help other departments get their websites up to snuff. The ABBA page was only recently assigned to me, so I can now work on that page. It is a very light page, so not one that is likely to pose a whole lot of challenges. The other note there, we are working to create a transition plan, as I will be rolling out of this position probably in the July timeframe. It has been a great joy to work with ABBA and to work with the county to shepherd these grants along and to build some really exciting digital inclusion work. I think that there is a lot more opportunity both in the county and statewide. And so I'm going to be looking for ways that I can shepherd things along at a broader scale. So that's the plan. Most likely, as long as Gary and Dennis hit their timelines, there's not going to be a whole lot of business for the authority after July. So we are planning a large get-together. In fact, a multi-site get-together is the plan. So that way we can have a live stream connecting multiple locations to celebrate universal broadband access, Albemarle County being on the doorstep of universal broadband access. And that's about the time that I will be finding the side door and making an Irish exit. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about the transition, I'm all yours.
Well, it's such a long way we've come. The notion that we'd have a multi-site, linked up presentation when 8 years ago we'd have broadband meetings on Zoom, and we were worried that nobody had access to the internet to get on Zoom because that's what we were even by. So
yeah,
things have changed.
Things have changed.
I think we should take you from Jason and start working with our board of supervisors here to figure out how do we know when it's time for us to go away, and how do we plan for that? This is all we've wanted all along. let's,
Planned obsolescence.
that might be something to discuss perhaps at next time.
We don't want to have enough Mission Creek that finds us a new thing to do. Just leave it right here, some more money to spend. So,
I would certainly suggest having a conversation with council, grants, myself, and the chair as an initial pass to determine what are existing obligations. Again, there's reporting obligations, but those could be handled by OGA, I believe, independent of the office or the authority. And then it's a matter of understanding what are the remaining obligations as associated with VADI 22, since the county is not a grantee, but rather a party to the grant.
That does make it easier.
If you take another peek at your financial update, we're about $400,000 away from having completed our financial obligation to the grant. And I'm quite certain that by the end of the fiscal year, they're going to have $400,000 worth of bills for us. So it is rapidly coming to a point.
good, good. Well, we'll need to have those conversations offline and see if we can come back with a plan. Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Had you communicated this or is this a communication?
I've spoken to Kaki and Jesse and actually the counselor to make sure that I was going to be leaving in a way that was timely and appropriate for the authority and for the work.
I have a lot of interest in bullet 3, but I can handle that through the executive.
Yeah.
To understand kind of what the planning in the office, so.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, I'm also a member of the NACO Telecommunications and Technology Committee. And yesterday we had an update about the web accessibility. And someone from, I can't remember where it was from, noted that in the locality he was in and talking to other people, their sites had been brought up to speed, they were compliant, and they noticed a 1,400% increase in downloads of information and targeted, appearing to be people targeting, trying to find sites that were not compliant for purposes of litigation. So maybe something you want to keep an eye on.
It is at the top of mind for PSA. That I can tell you the county, I'm sorry, human services as a whole, because I don't have insight into the whole county, but the human services as a whole is at 86%. The industry standard is 87. So we're just under it. And a number of the issues can be resolved by some site-wide review. For instance, and this is a little off topic, but there are a lot of guidelines around whether contrast is appropriate. That is something that Granicus can just determine. Are the menus appropriate? Well, if every website that has one of the mega menus on the side has 243 errors associated with that menu that just need review to demonstrate that white over whatever color blue that is an appropriate contrast, then you can just set it aside. And so most likely, I hope by the end of the month, we'll have crested the industry standard. But also what I appreciate about PSA's work is the expectation and the intention to keep up with this. So that way, when we revisit this in 6 months, we haven't slipped. We have actually managed to maintain and keep these up to date. One of the tasks that I've given myself as we reach the end of my time here is to update our pages to reflect a very public-facing page and then a more internal digital navigator focused page. And I think that those two things, we will be really diligent about keeping them accessible because we want them to be found and we want them to be easily understood.
I speak at a conference about web accessibility every year. We normally have about 50 people. We had 480 people yesterday. Lot of interest because of this obligation and this deadline.
Yeah.
coming up.
Yep.
Nothing like a deadline.
Yeah. So, and that is all I have.
Any other business? Well, I hate to keep you so long. But if there's no other business, then I think we should adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned.
Makes me between 5:30 and 5.
Thanks all.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow. What's your plan?